How we doing? Today we're talking about the black Pro Mist filters and why I almost always keep a quarter Pro Mist on my lenses. This is with the Pro Mist on my camera. See the little bit of contained flare? Here's what it looks like without. See that creamy goodness? The goal for today is to get into the correct vehicle this time. There we go. In my last video, I accidentally broke into the wrong vehicle. Today I'm doing a bunch of random stuff, kind of just running some errands. I gotta take some underwear to the... Don't worry about it. And we gotta pick up another rental from Lens Rentals because I'm doing another gear review this weekend. Okay, we're here. As you can see from this creeper shot, that's Lens Rentals right there. The package has been retrieved. I got this lens. It's a fairly new lens, not super new, but new-ish. I'm very excited to test it out and see if I like it and everything. I'll show you guys what it is when I get home. So the idea of Pro Mist is definitely not a new thing. I was doing some research for this video. It said on their website that the Pro Mist has been around for 30 years, give or take. And we're gonna go into a deep dive into all the specific effects that this filter has on your lens and camera setup. But I need coffee, so I'm gonna go get one. OMG, how did I do that? That was so fast and cool. I did a mask in between the two shots and feathered it, so yeah.
I also spilled a little bit of coffee on my car, but the good thing is I can shoot into the light and it's nice and creamy because
Pro Mist. Okay, you ready to see what I got at Lens Rentals? It's a Sigma 14mm 1.8 EF mount lens. This will be the next video that goes up on my channel, so if you're interested in wide angle cinematography and photography with shallow depth of field, stay tuned for that video. But today, my friends, we're not talking about wide angles. Today we're talking about Pro Mistifiers. So what does the Pro Mist filter actually do to your lens and camera setup? The most obvious effect that this filter has... Cat, you're shaking the table. The most obvious effect this filter has on your camera setup is the highlight contained flare, also called halation. Alexa, what is halation?
The spreading of light beyond its proper boundaries to form a fog around the edges of a bright image in a photograph or on a television screen. Halation.
So when you take a Pro Mist filter and put it on your lens, you can see this effect, this contained light flare, or
halation,
as the professionals call it. The coolest part about these filters is although it causes halation and highlights, it does not affect skin tone values. Focus on my face. Don't have autofocus anymore, it's the GH5. So it's not changing the color, it's not making them warm. It adds a little bit of warmth to your highlights, but it's not affecting your actual skin, which is amazing. Skin tones are obviously one of the most important things about cinematography and color and creating a realistic image. It's very hard to do. I still struggle with skin tones all the time. The first time I noticed this halation highlight contained flare effect in film is the show Peaky Blinders. I started watching this show last year and fell in love with it. I noticed in season 1 that all the highlights had this weird wraparound, bloom, sexy, creamy, hot daddy look. And since that show, I've been on the pursuit of that kind of a look. I just didn't want it to be too dramatic. That's why I went with the 1/4 or quarter Pro Mist. All right, we just switched over to my Tokina 11-16. What I've done is I put step-up rings on each of my lenses all the way up to 82mm for each lens. That way I can just have two filters, my variable ND and my Pro Mist. I can stack them like this and then put this on whatever lens I'm using. Let's put this baby on there. In case you do want to get a Pro Mist for yourself, I just want to tell you that there are tons of variety when it comes to the strength. This is a quarter, like I mentioned earlier, but you can get anywhere from an 1/8 to 5. The 5 probably looks freaking crazy, and I imagine that it would be cool for creating a dreamlike sequence or something of that nature. I'll leave links to Pro Mist and my other gear in the description and the comments. I went with the quarter because it's definitely noticeable. You can see this contained highlight flare, but it's not overwhelming. I just like it. I just want to be a Peaky Blinder, actually. Wait, this is the real reason I got the Pro Mist. I'm a Peaky Blinder. Put a Pro Mist on your glasses, your contacts. They should make Pro Mist contacts. Oh, I'm a business genius. All right, well, we're gonna take a trip to Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is where my sister lives. Get some more footage with this. Come along, blinders. It's road trip time. Got my Ursa. Got my Peak Design backpack on. Let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing a video about the cases that I use for travel and carrying gear around and stuff. I think that'd be kind of a cool video to talk about.
Gotta keep the kids safe.
My sister's back in the vids.
I recently got married. I don't know if you guys saw that video. And my diamond fell off my ring. Don't know where that's at.
Me and my sister are Instacarting right now, just hanging. But I'm gonna keep talking about the Pro Mist filters. Don't you just love Pro Mist, Jaden?
I do.
I gotta look at my notes. Pro Mist, I realize, is a very stylized look, and maybe not everybody will want that on their footage. I totally get that. But the reason I keep Pro Mist on my camera pretty much at all times is not just because I think it looks cool.
Turn right onto Union Street.
One of the biggest struggles with small cameras, I talked about this in my Canon 90D review in my last video.
Union Street for 2 miles.
One of the biggest struggles with these small cameras is the dynamic range.
So extra.
So having a camera like the GH5, which struggles with dynamic range, especially in the highlights, the Pro Mist blooms those highlights out and doesn't make them clip as soon, and just kind of makes them have more of a smooth roll-off look, similar to higher end cinema cameras. Obviously it's not gonna look the exact same as like an Alexa or a Red. High-end cameras can have anywhere from like 14 to 18 stops of dynamic range, where the GH5 has, I think, 12. Isn't it 12?
Yeah, that's what I read.
So it's not just a cool thing. I think that it helps just give it a more... Yeah, that dude is a bad driver. Anyway, it helps your camera look better, and that's it. I'm home. Pro Mist isn't perfect for every situation, I realize that. I just happen to be a big fan of it. I subscribe to the Cook Optics YouTube channel, and they had a video on there at one point that talked about this specific anamorphic lens. And the creators of this anamorphic lens designed the lens to have almost a natural blooming halation effect to it. And they said, why would you construct or use a $50,000 lens, or whatever the number was, and then put a $100 filter in front of it? And that makes perfect sense. The good news is you and I are not using expensive gear like that. We're using little cameras, most likely, or even these. But it's even fun to put Pro Mist on the Ursa sometimes, even though it has quite a bit more dynamic range than something like a GH5. If you are interested in the look and you want to get a Pro Mist, I will leave a link in the description and the comments. At the end of the day, the goal is to make videos that you like, that you're proud of. And in my opinion, if you have a camera setup and a look that you really like, then you're gonna be happy with what you're creating and you're gonna create better. So experiment, find out what look you like, what look you wanna go for, get inspired by watching other things, other creators, shows, TV. Also, reminder, I'm gonna be putting out the review of this Sigma 14mm lens. So stay tuned for that video, I'm really excited about it. I've been really appreciative of the feedback I've gotten recently, doing more gear videos. I think that's what people wanna see from me, so that's what I'm gonna make. So thank you for watching. Subscribe instantly. Become a patron. Bye.